in the crowd shot him in the chest and he died. Kidding. Bullet passed through a steel eyeglass case and 50 sheets of paper, but yeah, it definitely pierced the skin. So he begrudgingly tells the crowd,
"Sorry, friends, but I've just been shot, so I'll have to keep this short."
30 minutes later,
"Because I believe the American people can decide..."
pierced the skin. So he begrudgingly tells the crowd,
"Sorry, friends, but I've just been shot, so I'll have..."
What's up, squad? It's your Squid, aka the Anxious Squid, here at Anxious Squid Productions. I'm here with little Diglett. Yeah, he gave me a big old smile just as I mentioned him. That's cool. His name's obviously not actually Diglett. I switched between calling him Diglett and calling him Little Mars Attacks. My wife doesn't like it when I call him Mars Attacks, but yeah, it's a thing. I figured, you know what the title of the video is and the thumbnail of the video, you know what the video is about, right? But I figured the second Centauri born in America, he should watch this video with me and learn about the, arguably the coolest American president I have heard. And, yeah, he was giving his mum some grief, so I figured I'd bring him in here and he might enjoy it in here as well, you know what I mean? His brother loves filming videos. You guys have seen his older brother. This is my youngest, so yeah, we'll get into it, shall we?
how can I give an accurate picture of just how manly this man is? Okay, do you remember those Chuck Norris facts that were popular like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
There are 10 million people in the world of Warcraft because Chuck Norris allows them to live.
Right.
Turns out they were invented for Teddy Roosevelt.
Makes sense. Wait, let me go back to what that said. Death had to take Teddy Roosevelt sleeping because otherwise...
Turns out they were invented for Teddy Roosevelt.
Death had to take Roosevelt sleeping. If he'd been awake, there would have been a fight. That's funny. I wonder who said that. That's funny, that's funny. I think it was Teddy Roosevelt. I'm fairly certain it was Teddy, who bailed Australia out during World War II. It was one of the Roosevelts that was in charge of America at that point. And I apologise to people who are like, how do you not know who was in charge of America during World War II? I was not yet around, and I'm Australian, so I learnt about World War II through the context of an Australian lens, right? John Curtin and whatnot. But yeah, fairly certain it was Teddy Roosevelt, whichever Roosevelt it was. In fact, I'm fairly certain it was a military commander in the Asia Pacific area, not necessarily the president, but some American decided to bail out Australia when the Japanese attacked Darwin, and it's the reason why we have such a close allyship today, you know? Like, it's that fact that changed Australia from viewing Britain as our main ally to viewing America as our main ally, because Britain would have just let us get taken over. They wouldn't have given a fuck. They would have, like... Churchill looked at Australia in the same way he looked at India. You know what I mean? Like, it was a colonial outpost, but the motherland's more important. Whereas America saw us as our own thing. And came and helped us because we were our own thing. That's why we should be a republic, but I won't go down that rabbit hole. You alright, little drooly boy? Sit up and watch, shall we?
This episode is sponsored by the Great Courses Plus.
As always, if you want to watch that video, go watch that video.
Teddy was actually
Links at the bottom of the description.
With terrible asthma, but by age 7 he was already a hunter and a museum curator. It all started when he got a discarded seal head from the local market and proceeded to spend the next 2 years killing any living thing he could get his hands on and stuffing them in his bedroom. He then grew up to be a gentleman and a scholar, graduating Harvard magna cum laude and becoming a published historian and ornithologist on top of joining the rowing and boxing teams.
Alright.
Crippling asthma wasn't good for such an intrepid young
academic
man, so
and
he
physically
overcame it with sheer force of will. His doctors told him, "Hello, Theodore. Yes, I wanted to inform you that you shouldn't be doing anything that might trigger your asthma. It could have serious adverse effects on your health, potentially leading..."
Gotta stop you right there, Chief. Live fast, die young. Know what I'm saying?
That's funny.
Where are you right now? But things weren't all alpine sunshine. Shortly after his daughter was born, his mother died of fever.
Oh, that's sad.
Thank God I have you for support, honey. Where's Alice?
And so Roosevelt makes like Batman and vows to fight for justice. He becomes a politician in New York City, sniffing out corruption and running up against party leaders. Until soon he became a party leader, until soon he lost support. So he did the next best thing and became a cowboy. Moved to Dakota and dropped 14 grand on a cattle ranch. Again, he displays his mastery of the art of manliness in a local saloon, when a man with a gun trots in and orders a round for the house on Teddy. So Teddy socks him in the jaw and knocks him senseless. Teddy Roosevelt.
That's funny though. Imagine having the balls to be like, That's Teddy Roosevelt. Everyone's gonna drink on him. Like, alright. I want to hear more about that cowboy.
And won. Satisfied with his time in the frontier, and also because a bad winter killed all his cows, he returned to New York, this time setting out to reform the police force, so that his men were manly and not using the NYPD as a cushy political job. Speaking of political jobs, Teddy made campaign speeches for McKinley, and now he's Assistant Secretary of the Navy.
Okay.
But Teddy didn't believe in cushy. He took on most of the duties of his boss, and started advocating to kick Spain out of Cuba. And the president agreed, but he wanted to kick Spain out diplomatically. And then the Maine blew up. McKinley, to his credit, was still trying to de-escalate the situation, but yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Roosevelt, I'm afraid we're going to war.
One step ahead of you, Chief. Also, I quit.
What?
Can't waste an opportunity to fight on the front lines. Yeah!
That's
like
funny.
he did, going above and beyond anything he was ordered to. So now he's an ornithologist, a historian, a cowboy, a police chief, politician,
He's packed a lot in.
a war hero. Just the kind of person party boss Tom Platt needs to nominate for governor of New York. And Teddy cinches the election. Heck, he was on such a roll, maybe he could even be president someday. And then the vice president dies,
Foreshadowing.
and Teddy's friends tell him, "Hey, you should run for VP." Teddy says no, because the VP does nothing, and then he gets a message from McKinley saying,
Just so you know, you're not allowed to be my VP.
but then...
Hear ye! Vote Roosevelt for VP at the Republican Convention!
Yes, it turns out the party boss who helped put Teddy in the governor's office now wants him out of office. He and his party boss friends run Roosevelt's entire campaign without him, put him on the ballot against the president's wishes, and he won unanimously.
Alright.
So he and McKinley win the election, and
That-
now he's vice president.
That should be the only way people can become president or vice president. Like, you have to be volunteered by your peers, and you need to not want to do it. That should be a pre-fucking requisite for the job. Like, phew.
And then McKinley dies. Whoops.
Yeah,
And
whoops.
look, his presidency is a video unto itself. He broke up trusts, he made national parks, he made it so that food has to be edible and drugs can't kill you, he helped promote a federal income tax and an 8-hour workday, he passed nearly as many executive orders as the previous 25 presidents combined, and he panned a man-Panama Plans canal. The man's face is on a mountain next to the guy who won the Civil War and 2 of the guys who made the country. Let us just take a moment and acknowledge his legacy. And now let's move on to the fun stuff. It's 1908, and Teddy chooses not to run for a 3rd term. Instead, he installs his friend Taft as basically a younger version of himself, and runs off to Africa where he kills 11,000 animals and brings their bodies to the Smithsonian. When he gets back, it turns out Taft isn't Teddy Roosevelt 2.0, so Teddy starts rethinking that 3rd term. But Republicans aren't about to give up their incumbent president for someone who was only supposed to be VP. So Teddy makes his own party. It was during his 3rd party presidential campaign that a man in the crowd shot him in the chest and he died. Kidding. Bullet passed through a steel eyeglass case and 50 sheets of paper, but yeah, it definitely pierced the skin. So he begrudgingly tells the crowd,
"Sorry, friends, but I've just been shot, so I'll have to keep this short."
30 minutes later,
because I believe the American people can decide...
pierce the skin. So he begrudgingly tells the crowd,
"Sorry, friends, but I've just been shot, so I'll have..."
So he was gonna give a speech. Some fuckhead in the crowd shot him, a la JFK, Bobby Kennedy style, but like, you know, beforehand, before it was cool. And, not that that was cool, you know what I mean. And because it went through his eyeglass and his presumably a Bible or speech notes or something, 50 sheets of paper, he got up and gave the speech. He gave the speech anyway after getting shot. Like, I mean, yeah, he's the reputation is warranted, I guess. You know, like, what a badass motherfucker. Like,
keep this short.
Shit.
30 minutes later,
because I believe the American people can decide for themselves, not now.
Another hour later,
and that, friends, is why you should vote progressive. All right.
He got up and gave an hour-long speech, in fact.
The American people can decide for themselves, not now.
This guy's fucking wild, isn't he?
Later,
and that, friends, is why you should vote progressive. All right, you can help me down now. I'm feeling kind of dizzy.
Despite all that, he ended up splitting the vote because first past the post is a terrible system, and Wilson won instead. So what does a man like Teddy Roosevelt do in a time like this? He explores an uncharted river in the treacherous depths of the Amazon. On this charming trip, one guy dies, one guy gets murdered, and one guy gets left for dead. And Teddy gets an infection so bad he starts reciting another man's fever dream. Then one of the most traumatic and devastating conflicts in
Like, we're nearly at the end of the video here, so I wouldn't freak out. Don't worry that I'm pausing it so much. But this guy, like, he's packed a lot in. He seems like a fucking badass. Like, is some of this bullshit? Like, is some of this, like, urban legend and myth? You know what I mean? Like, this, surely all of this can't be actual reality.
history popped up, and 58-year-old Teddy spotted an opportunity to relive his glory days. He wrote to the government saying,
Ooh, put me in, Chief, I can take him.
And he got permission from Congress, but Wilson was a total buzzkill and said no. Then Teddy developed some breathing trouble, his doctor made him feel better, and then death came for him in his sleep so he could avoid getting roundhoused in the face. Okay, free stuff. You want more Teddy? Boom, conservationism, life lessons, all on the Great Courses Plus with their umpteen thousand other courses. But low-key, they've also got these how-to lessons that I've been watching every night, and like... That's not terrible. Plus, they've got shop and gourmet baking. And am I making cream puffs for dessert tonight? Probably not.
Is he your favorite president?
This isn't the most
He's the only president you've ever heard of, isn't he?
So if you want a free trial of the full thing, go to thegreatcoursesplus.com/Jack Rackham or click the link in the description. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
So long, and thanks for all the fish. Righto. What a video. That's cool. Please let me know in the comments section if that was just... A lot of that was just made up nonsense, a bit like a la Chuck Norris style, but that's cool. He's my favourite president that I've heard of thus far. Like, that's fucking cool. That's really cool. Do you like him as well, little man? You like him, Mars Attacks, huh? Little squish butt? Look at the camera. You're looking at my hand, aren't you? But yeah, good stuff. This is Diglett. I'm the Anxious Squid. If you want to give us money, you can. Your name will go on that list with the other patrons and stuff. Who's your favourite president? Is it Teddy? Understandable if it was. If it wasn't, link me to a video about your favourite and I'll watch that too. Thanks heaps for watching, guys. I'll see you when I look at you, and you'll see me when you look at me.